Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Cause this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B Brown, ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're gonna give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. What's up? What is up? We are in the early hour on this particular Friday. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B Brown, ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South, aka Mr. Excessive Celebration. In the early hour, still bringing the same funk, rough, rugged, and raw. How we do, man? Sports, business, and entertainment. We decided to start a little earlier just to see what the early crowd looks like. And we're going to have a good time. Today's episode is entitled Imposter Syndrome. And we'll get into the scientific meaning of imposter syndrome. But on this particular Friday, when the entire sports world has been in awe all week about a particular high school, which we might want to call it a fake high school, played on national television. I'm donning my St. Thomas Aquinas shirt in pride because we played on national television as well. This imposter syndrome episode is going to be epic. One of the worst things you can call someone in the community, in the urban areas, dare I call it in the hood, is fake, phony, an imposter. Yet a lot of us in our daily jobs and our careers, sometimes because we're sort of like a fish out of water, we feel like an imposter. Naomi Osaka talked about it. We're going to talk about it. This is going to be another epic episode of the Ball Hog Sports Talk. With no further ado, let's hop in. We're going to bring in my man, The Big Flow Show, and ETP, Ellis, the producer. What's up, gentlemen, in the early hour? How y'all doing, man?
What's good, America? What's good? Bright and early here in Chicago.
Bright and early.
Making sure we could give you guys some funk. Hopefully we can get B to turn his lights on. It's a little dark over there. He's trying to sneak in the show in before.
Am I dark? I thought you were talking about me personally. I thought you were throwing
we don't do colorism over here. We don't do colorisms over here. We're ready to go.
I thought we were supposed to be brothers.
ETP, how you doing on this bright and early Friday morning, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm feeling fortunate. Live in the Northeast, so got a little bit of water in the basement from this Armageddon style flooding and rainstorm. Biblical times.
Yeah, man.
I feel like it snuck up on y'all. Like, I don't remember you guys saying, "Hey, man, we're about to get this hurricane." Next thing I know, it's just New Jersey and New York is flooded. Did it just come in the back door or what happened?
I just think the news, they take hurricanes and tropical storms, take it and jumble it in with the rest of the news. Like in South Florida, that's the
3
news.
men murdered, 2 rats eat a bum, and there's a hurricane coming tomorrow.
Yeah, watch out. Yeah. Your basement gonna be flooded. I felt as though I didn't get properly notified. I agree with you, man.
I never heard you talk about it.
How we get sucker punched on a tropical storm?
There was tornadoes too. So hopefully everybody's safe. But it's been crazy out here, man. Up from New Orleans, it came from New Orleans and tore.
And just skip everybody else.
What's
going on?
Express train.
No layovers.
Whoever don't believe in global warming now, just I don't know what to tell you, man. You just don't believe in science. But you talked about the storm. Ida, I think, was the official name that snuck up and tore and ravished the Northeast along with other places in the United States. But there was a story that kind of snuck up on us this week. The Fighting Sycamores, Bishop Sycamore to be exact, was on national television playing IMG. Yes, that IMG, who is defending national champs, always ranked very high, an academy, an elite institution of learning and sports. And they was getting their head bashed in. And on air almost, I think it sort of divulged itself in real time. You could hear the person calling the game basically like, hold on, I think we got duped. They said that they had a bunch of 5-star recruits. Where they at? They said this, they said that, but we never verified it. It was one of the most strange yet authentic moments you will ever see on national television live. And it has now opened this entire universe of deceit, fraud, all the things that I would consider are bad when it comes to high school football. Look no further, full stop. Anything and everything you want to see negative about the whole the environment of high school sports, you can find it in this story, baby. The Fighting Sycamores. If Bishop Sycamore, when it's all said and done, that Wikipedia page is going to be interesting. So much to sort of unwind when it comes to Bishop Sycamore. What did y'all think about the story in general? I'll start with you, Big Flo Show. I know you watch a lot of high school football on national television. I happen not to see that game, but immediately I got people sending me stuff like, you got to check this out, man. This team's getting their head bashed in. And oh, by the way, there's some questions.
I didn't watch a lot of the game. I can't remember what night. I think it was a Sunday night. It was a weird night. Whatever it was, I ended up not watching much of the game. One of my son's future teammates is a DB on the team, so I wanted to check him out a little bit.
At Bishop Sycamore?
No, on IMG.
Oh, IMG. Okay, I was about to say.
That would be even better for the
guest.
story. I'm sorry to disappoint. Yeah, he got to be a guest. One of the IMG
man,
that's
sort of, you sure let me down on that.
I'll look him up. Maybe I'll look up the IMG dad and see what it looks like. What was there? But as a guy who went through youth sports with youth football and basketball, it smelled so much like youth sports with the lies. And I read there's a quarterback that was on the team who's now a tight end, a guy named Judah Hoslaw. He's now a tight end at Youngstown State. And so at the end of the day, his son was on the team, and he basically went through his experiences with this team. They'd go to hotels as a team. He put his credit card up. Next thing you know, it would be a $2,500 charge because all the rooms were charged there. He'd be trying to give kids a ride home, and next thing you know, he's feeding all the kids. He's telling them all these linemen were going to show up, and he'd meet one, and nobody else would come up. There was 20-year-olds on the team, 19-year. I mean, this screamed of AAU or Pop Warner fraud that was going on. So you know what? I mean, there's a side of me that, like, I almost appreciate the hustle in some ways that this dude got himself on ESPN because all the signs were there. He just kept lying. And the normal person, I believe, would get to a point where they're like, I can't do this. He doesn't have that gene. Like, he doesn't have that thing in his brain that says, I can't do it. He's like, man, I'm about to be on TV, y'all. Wait till you see this. I'm legit. All the people that thought I was fake, Mama, I say you 303. Whatever that dude said, VIP, whatever. He was like, I'm on TV, man, playing IMG. He don't give a damn. He brought these kids out there. They didn't practice. He said that the dad was
not only did they not practice, they had played a game 2 days earlier.
Same kids played the game. The dad's like, he would just be like, hey, B, man, could you do me a favor? Hey, call up and reserve this place for us to practice and just never get back at you. Next thing you know, you pay for the practice facility. So he was, could you pick up the keys? You're gonna be there first. Could you pick up the keys to the hotel?
I feel like the warning signs have been there. That
everyone on their side
was eventually going to amass enough power, influence, and wiggle themselves into a situation like this. The signs have been here. There have been seedy characters around sports forever, and we've seen it now trickle down to younger ages. Mm-hmm. In this case, it's high school, and I didn't know I had to put high school in air quotes, but at this time it's high school. But you see it at AAU, you see it everybody. You see it in Pop Warner or AYF football. So I feel like the signs have been here, and ESPN, while being the biggest of all, I don't want to call them ducks because they just got man.
That's the most concerning part about it, right? Because they have the rankings, the ESPN 300. They're supposed to have their finger on the pulse. Like, it just throws everything into question in terms of how high school and quote unquote amateur sports is actually being regulated, evaluated. It throws everything into question. This is a really funny story, but it really digs into the heart of, like, what is realistic in terms of how all of this is actually being regulated, monitored, ranked, all of that. Because at the end of the day, how do you not know that this school doesn't exist ultimately, and they're
Like
on
basics,
prime
like
time. Yeah,
basics.
like it's not like y'all are not that good.
Hey, what's y'all's
Y'all
address?
don't
Like, we want to do a
exist.
flyover.
Let's play devil's advocate though. Bishop Sycamore in 2021 is a little more understandable because we just had 24 months of online learning. So they didn't have a brick and mortar's location address. But
no, that's fair.
There are a lot of upstarts that are similar.
Where's y'all stadium at?
They don't need
to. Right. It's online. It's on Zoom.
It's on Zoom.
We got to practice on Zoom.
Like something like, because again, you were on a whole ESPN special against IMG, and nobody checked. Like, you had nothing you had to bring. Do you have insurance? Like, don't you need something? Okay, the three of us just start a team and just get a group of kids randomly. Like the dude said, he was this dad was saying he was warming some of these teams. Like, look, it might be 20-year-olds out there, 19. You don't know who's going to be on the team. They don't even practice. They just show up and let's go.
The saddest part about it is he ran this intricate, and the crazy thing is when you read about it, it's like, this is not intricate, this is not sophisticated at all. Well, let's just assume there was a sophisticated plan to get them on national television,
right? And
you can't even score a touchdown. You're breaking every rule available, and you can't even score a touchdown in a high school game with 20-year-olds. Like, I admire the commitment to the lie, but one, how did everybody get duped? And two, you went through all that to just get mopped on national TV.
Hey man, look, any news is good news. They was on national TV. Like, you looking at them getting mopped, but they got mopped, and you got to finish a sentence on ESPN. So
I'd rather lose a fight in a dark alley than on national TV.
The coach was talking big noise to IMG. He's like, man, we got this quarterback, this line, and the receivers. We think we're gonna beat y'all. Some people, I got a buddy, man, who no matter whatever game he goes into, he thinks he's going to win. Sometimes he gets running clock put on him, but he thought he was going to win. Some people just feel that way. They think, man, look, I got this. There's no problem. What did he have to lose? He was on TV. He was never getting on TV otherwise. What did he have to lose?
What's up, Coach Patrick, man? This would be a perfect opportunity to say, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. The Ball Hawk Sports Talk is in the building. But one of our live listeners commented that we should trick them into airing our game. He's one of my assistant coaches. What's up, Coach Patrick? And to his point, while it does make me chuckle, I kind of feel like I haven't been hustling hard enough. Why isn't the Ball Hawk Sports Talk on one of these ESPN, some ESPN platform? Because if the Fighting Sycamores, Bishop Sycamore, an organization that ain't never existed, we real, man. We real. We authentic, rough, rugged, and raw. Why haven't we gotten ourselves to be on ESPN? I ain't hustling hard enough because this dude not only got on ESPN, but got on ESPN to play the national champs, IMG. Yeah. So we talk about the failures of ESPN, but how about IMG? It makes me question that institution. Now, IMG, great school. They're doing positive things in almost every single sport,
and they have a hard time finding people they want to get in front of.
They do. They find it difficult to get a schedule because they're that good. But at some point with IMG, the institution that's trained the likes of, some of the greatest golfers, some of the greatest tennis people ever, that has all of these sports facilities and these camps, and at no point did IMG say, let's look into this Bishop Sycamore. Let's see who we.
Send me a picture.
Do you hold them accountable? They're like, we're gonna be on ESPN. We got the bag, whatever the fees are, or whatever they get in terms of financial compensation. They didn't turn the game down. Like, I don't put it on IMG. I mean, ESPN needs to do their due diligence. The agency that hired them, I don't know. I mean, if they should know the team. They should have scouted them. Like, it's weird that nobody raised the question. We got no tape. We got what's good, right? So I guess they didn't even that's how prepared. That's how cocky they were. They're just like, whatever. We just go in and we walk over teams. Who's this team? Bring them on. Whatever it is.
You know what's my favorite part of the story at the end? They went down all the way to the end. I read reports that the coach was fired.
Yeah, by who?
Who fired him? Who
He
said
fired
this is unacceptable?
himself. You
Who
better
said
stop
this?
messing with Bishop Sycamore. See, y'all thinking logical. This is some Jedi mind trick
They're
type.
trying to
He
look legit.
fired
They want to be able to come
himself.
back next week. We fired the
Now-
coach. Hey, next week we're gonna play again on ESPN. We fired the coach. We bringing in Ellis and Bobby.
We solved everything.
We're
solved
now a
it.
clean program.
That is my favorite. You got fired.
Look,
Nah,
the
but
favorite
the-
part is going to be next week when he is the one who hires the new coach.
Yeah. No, but
guy-
I
this
think
Judas dad
the
said-
founder of the school was the D line coach or the offensive coach, and he fired the head coach. It's just you can't make this stuff up, man.
The same quarterback's dad said that they asked him, "Hey, can your son, when your older son, he played D1, can he be one of the coaches?" Pop Warner. He said he got D1 experience. He's like, he's not a coach. He's like, man, I know, but he played D1. They want to sell that. This is Pop Warner, babe. This is
Hey.
I got so many Pop Warner similarities I can think of how many programs this is. So they went out there and played IMG. They're 20.
Before we get out of here, man, before we get off this topic, because this is we could literally do an entire show just on this. But there's some other good stuff we got to get to. I love it, my man, Coach Patrick. You definitely get the award for best comments. He says fired on his day off, but the challenge is every day for him was a day off because he had no job. He just made up a job. But I need to ask both of you, what is the best part of this story? It could be the most ridiculous. I've seen the memes. I've seen the social media challenges of coming up with what their board of directors looks like. You had Tommy from Martin on there. Shout out, rest in peace. But you had all of these felonious characters, people that have been characterized in one way or another as an imposter. I've seen Soldier Boy, as someone said that Soldier Boy is the chief marketing officer. What has been the best part of this story for you guys? Because sometimes, some things are so ridiculous that you got to laugh to help from crying. To me, this is it. We've talked on this show ad nauseum about where youth sports is going. We've talked on this show ad nauseum about how the ranking systems is just another form of exploitation in a lot of ways. We've talked on this show about how all of these supplemental services, these services that help recruits get noticed and build film, is just really other people coming up with business ideas of how to exploit these young athletes and these parents that have no idea that if little Johnny runs a 6'4", 40-yard dash, and little Johnny fancies himself as a running back, little Johnny ain't getting no D1 scholarship. So don't waste your money on this service. We've talked about all of these things, but here it is in our face. What has been the best or worst part about this story for both of you as the week is unfolded and more layers seem to reveal themselves? What do you guys think is like the highlight of this whole charade that we now know as Bishop Sycamore, them fighting Sycamores?
I think the best part for me was the commentators were just like, we're not in on the joke. We're gonna just expose this on they didn't play like we're not playing along. Yeah. We're just like, no, everybody's wrong here. We're not even gonna toe the party line. They just went rogue and we're like, yo, this was all bad decision making. If the commentators had not just totally had a level of integrity about it, this might have never been a story. True. Never been a story.
Very true.
But they were just like, this is for the health and safety. Like that part for me was sad that it got that far, but it was hilarious that's what unraveled the entire sweater, right? Like that was the thread you pulled. Right. It was like, and you had these commentators who are high school commentators. Like they're not, they're not
didn't take a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. Like that's the crazy part. But the serious piece is like, hopefully this just, to your point, it shines a light where there needs to be a little bit more oversight on all of these things. Like the fact that, your former high school is on national TV, like all of this is getting a little bit excessive in terms of the amount of exposure and how early these kids are getting it. And it's wild west. And there's all of these people that are falling, gonna fall victim. And now you have that name, image, and likeness and all of these things that are just really not being regulated. You're gonna have a lot of cautionary tales. So But it's a hilarious story. But I think hopefully the reaction to it provides a little bit more structure.
Love
I think
it.
on the other side of on the other side of that, what you're saying really points out that the clout chasing that we do now in society, and like when I look at how many people are on that team, like this father that came out and talked about their experience, and you think about like there's no place for them to stay. There's supposed to be a place to stay. There is no school. There is no food. They didn't have uniforms till late. Everything that they did was so fraudulent. And all these people were chasing this game chance to play on ESPN and said, all right, cool, I'm going to keep my kid in this. The kids had to be coming home saying, Dad, we don't even run play. Everybody has to be going home and talking about it. And everybody still showed up to play IMG because they're so thirsty to get that clout. And that's what's sad, because you think, how many people had to be complacent? How many people knew the truth about this goofy ass thing? They were on the Bishop thing that at some point went to a real high school, at some point were on a real football team, but they couldn't pass up a chance to get on TV and go play. We gonna go play IMG.
You talking about truth? Truth? You can't handle the truth. Bishop Sycamore don't know no truth. They ain't never met no truth. They are a field of lies. And to both of your points, it seems as though we should have seen this coming. It seems as though we should have seen this coming, because more and more has gone into the outcome of your journey. Somehow, some way, as a 2-star, you ended up at a good school, and all is well. We don't even really look at the details of the journey anymore, because what we're calling clout chasing, or what you call clout chasing, Big Flow Show, is just, that's par for the course now, because all people are doing things for our AAU coach. Shout out to our AAU coach, Coach James Battle. We're going down to another AAU tournament. So interesting that I'll be talking about this on the day that I'm about to go down there. But he said it. He's like, now that you got different players ranked, people are going to start trying to pit you versus one another, when really the ranking doesn't even matter. We should be all happy that anyone.
Shout out to your son being ranked.
Yeah, shout out to the nation. Shout out. But as coach is talking about this, for those who don't know, my son is AAU. Somebody had the audacity to rank him, and I'm happy about that. But I told him, let that live in his spirit, sizzle in your spirit about 30 seconds, because it doesn't matter. Keep playing, keep working. But when coach is saying this, he's striking a nerve with me, because what he's essentially saying is, he's telling his players, why don't I ever see you guys post on Instagram the mistakes you made in the game? It's always the highlights. Why do you never show the shots that you miss? Why do you never FaceTime me and say, hey, let's do some push-ups together? And the more and more he's talking about it, what I'm hearing from him is, let's celebrate your process, the journey, the struggles that you took to get there. Let's not just fast forward and get to you on an award stand with your hands up, everybody's liking the photo, because you shared the best part in your mind of the whole thing, which is your very temporary and nominal, in the grand scheme of things, success. We've seen this coming on so many different Instagram pages, on so many different youth football, youth basketball pages. We've seen this coming. Bishop Sycamore is a reflection of what sports has become at all levels. And it's up to us to be responsible to win it back. What tore at my heart is when I heard the story of the parent actually wondering, so what's up with the academic part? When are you going to start taking classes? Almost 3/4 of the way through what would be a semester. That's what tore at my heart, because school, learning, aptitude, the scholastic part of your student athlete duality, it's getting pushed further and further and further and further and further on the back burner. And because of that, I think that all of us are guilty of exploiting these kids and doing them a disservice. I'll leave it there. Great discussion. There's some funny parts about Bishop Sycamore fighting sycamores. There's some very funny parts about it. But I think all in all, when I look at it,
What does a fighting sycamore look like?
yeah,
Exactly.
fighting sycamore. It looks like it's smoke and mirrors. It depends on what it looks like. What you need it to look like. It's camouflage, baby.
Whatever you want it to be, baby.
Yeah, it could be on ESPN. Only because you mentioned it. ETP Ellis, the producer, the illustrious St. Thomas Aquinas of the greater Fort Lauderdale, Florida area.
Does that school really exist?
We exist, baby. We brick and mortars. We got an address. We got a real address. You go check on us. You can look at us on Google
Ellis, have
Earth.
you been there? Have you seen Ellis?
I cannot confirm
Everybody
nor
gets
deny.
questioned now.
So we need to go ask you to cover that shirt off till we can have somebody
until verified.
Until verified.
It's like PEDs in baseball, man, and steroids in track. Now it's all we're in the Bishop Sycamore era. Every high school got to get questioned until verified.
I love that. We're gonna coin that. We're in the Bishop Sycamore
era when it comes to high school football.
I'll buy a shirt if they sell
illustrious St. Thomas. Shout out to him, man. Coach Roger Harriet as the head coach. My man Twan Russell played at the U, played in the league for a while. Fabulous brothers, new athletic directors. So 2 black men in very high profile positions there at St. Thomas. We beat St. Francis of Baltimore, Maryland, and I'll be remiss if I didn't say it's great to be an STA raid. I'm sorry.
I got Bishop next week. At home or away?
We might as well play them on a Wednesday. I mean, what? I think that's what's gonna come from. Anybody's gonna get that work.
They're just gonna show up at a park and play, and people are gonna be like, "Excuse me, you have a permit?" Yeah. We got this.
Who signed off on credit card? Bishop Sycamore work.
Yeah.
Let's hop on, man, because it does tie the stories together. And you talked about an ETP, name, image, and likeness. Where we are now, and it has been the Wild Wild West. Very little regulatory oversight, very little help from the institution that I thought would help, the NCAA, the big old bad NCAA. Let's talk about name, image, and likeness, where we are with it, where we see it going. Anything this week about name, image, and likeness that sticks out to either one of you before we hop into it broadly, any particular story stick out to you about name, image, and likeness when it comes to college sports?
I think just the momentum now is starting to get a little bit more crazy. So now multiple people at Ohio State now are getting cars. I just think it's getting to be just so open. People like forget it. Every week it's more and more stuff. I'm just waiting for my son to get his keys. I don't know what to say. Maybe am I saying it too? Is that too much?
No, you're good. No, hey, we already said it's very
legal, man. It's all legal now.
It's very similar to cannabis. You ain't got to be, doing one of those handshakes in the back alley no more. You could buy cannabis on a broad street.
Buy weed on
You're right,
street.
Weed. This is the same way. You don't have to say, "I can't wait for my son to get the keys," with your hand over your mouth anymore. Now, literally, Ohio State, they got several players that are part of their name, image, and likeness deal, air quote deal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them might have graduated from Bishop Sycamore, air quote graduated.
Where's my car? Where's my
car? But several players are getting cars, and they're calling it name, image, and likeness deals. So
Sanders' son got a deal.
Well,
from Beats by Dre, I saw that commercial.
I think that's the contrast of those two, right? So the dealership, they didn't give them cars; they loaned them cars. They gave them like leased cars for the year.
The same thing we said
if
back
they come back,
I don't want to have to pay tax anyway. Just let me borrow it.
You know how many athletes got the NCAA death sentence? Talking about they borrowed that car for 2 months. It was the same thing.
Reggie Bush already asking for his Heisman back. He was like,
"Hold on, man, hold on." His Heisman back with interest.
It was illegal when he
Heismans.
It was illegal when he
act like that. But you were gonna say ETP.
No, but I mean
those are a little different.
It's this nickel and dime level. Here I'm gonna give you a car, I'll give you some free wings anytime you come to my local restaurant. But then you got on the other side, you got Shador Sanders, Deion's son, who now plays for Jackson State, with being the youngest Beats by Dre endorsement deal ever. One of the biggest, the biggest headphone company owned by Apple. It's just really, you see the momentum is there, but you're just seeing how varied and various the deals can be. And it's providing opportunities for people. I mean, it is crazy to think that these kids are just, to be a Beats by Dre national commercial. I mean, like Sha'Carri Richardson, all of these people that are quote unquote amateur athletes getting major deals. But then on the local side, I mean, Big Flo, your son should be, getting free candy at the corner stores, should be, whatever you want.
Anybody got a skateboard?
I don't know. I was thinking key to the city, man, in Chicago. A homegrown kid staying at Northwestern, the highest rated prospect. Yeah, shameless plug, because Big Flo show ain't gonna do it, so we gonna do it. Whittle Wedge, Reggie Farima Jr., he's got all of these things going on, man, and that is now the next step in what is the new narrative.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't he be and look, we're talking about
like a razor, you know what I mean, or a motorized little skateboard type thing. Something.
That's all you want.
You could get whatever you want, man. You just gotta open the door.
Stars. I was thinking you was about to go bigger. You went smaller. Yeah. You would put some dubs on.
I'm just saying.
Don't just get the car.
Call the pass shit in NCAA. Yeah, so get him started on something small. We'll get him something.
You know what's crazy?
Pads?
Get him a bus pass for sure.
Transfers. Do you want transfers too?
Yeah,
transfers. Yeah, shout out about super transfers.
Monthly pass.
Hey, man, from the hood, baby. Once upon a time.
Yeah, the crazy thing though, I mean, even the WNBA is getting in on this. So this is how it's so deviant from the way that it probably should be, right? So the NCAA, the schools, they're not paying anybody. They're just saying you have the opportunity to go make money, right? And then the WNBA just signed a deal with an agency this week as well to provide opportunities or to find opportunities for players to supplement their low income, right? So you have all of these
third-party source.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, okay, well, why don't you go find ways to go make money? Because you're not getting it here by your employer. You can go and try to offset your, low minimum wage and maybe go to get a brand deal.
Think about it. In the same year that they finally, in their silver anniversary, that they finally have a devoted person to marketing, have a chief marketing officer. In that same year, they are now using name, image, and likeness concepts to say you can supplement your income. Not
right.
For 25 years, they didn't say, we're going to make sure that we do our part to market the product right. And to bring attention to the fact that, and I'm not saying this because this is the topic at the moment. I've said this religiously, it's good basketball.
Right.
WNBA is good basketball. For 25 years, we haven't devoted the resources to making sure that households know that this is good basketball.
Right.
But in the same year that we finally come up with a chief marketing officer, we tell you, by way of this agency, that you should be trying to figure out how to supplement your income. I said that at the beginning is that I feel like it let the person that should have been on, or the institutions that should have been on the hot seat were the schools and the NCAA with how to split up the money that you have built on the backs of these young scholars forever. Right. But what this did was, it was a rope-a-dope. It then sort of took the pressure off them and say, well, you have the opportunity to make money. But wait a minute, I got the opportunity. I just didn't see where it was the resolution that everyone celebrated. I thought it should be one of several solutions to a problem that has lasted a long time. We gave free labor, Big Flo, because when you do the math, the back of the envelope math, that room and board that they probably wrote off anyway, that room and board that they paid for us pales in comparison to what we brought into the institution and the college football in general. And then in year 2021, now that we have name, image, and likeness, I'm able to avoid all blame. I exonerate myself yet again by coming up with a third-party source. Go make money from whomever you want.
But the best part about that is you can't use that school's image. Like if you see the DJ commercial he has, DJ Ukulele, whatever his name is, he's not in a Clemson uniform. It's not Ukulele.
I know it's not Ukulele.
It is now. It is.
You rounded up. Yeah.
Judges.
It'll be accepted.
We'll accept it.
We'll accept it. But anyway, you see him in his commercial. He doesn't get to wear Clemson. So it's like now that you can image like, but you can't. We've been exploiting you. Well, you can't exploit us back. That's not fair. So you can't put the school in there at all. They got to get their bread.
It's so crazy. I mean, I brought up the WNBA piece because I have to believe that what's happening at the NCAA level had influenced the WNBA, right? Because you had NCAA women's basketball players now potentially making more money than the WNBA players because of name, image, and likeness. And these players, because the players union was like, we need to figure out how to get this bread. And we need to get with somebody that can help us do it. So I have to believe that they were motivated by the fact that they're like, these college kids are going out there making bank, and we're established professionals, and we got to play overseas in the off season. We got to figure out other ways there's people that work in part-time jobs, and they're fully realizing that there's opportunities there other than, there's maybe a handful, 10, 12, 15 WNBA players that are actually quote unquote wealthy or like making good revenue based on their name, image, and likeness already. But the NCAA, you got these, there's some twins in, I think, San Diego, or they play for a school. They're potentially making the most money out of any college students because of their TikTok videos.
Are these basketball girls or softball?
Yeah,
basketball.
It's been a lot of that. The sort of the entertainment of TikTok or the sexualization of the female student athletes, objectifying them. Any brand can objectify them, and so that's why I said I thought we needed to be more regulation around it. We shall see. Name, image, and likeness is here to stay, but I agree with you, ETP. The WNBA felt like, hey, if the NCAA can do it, by just opening up the opportunity zone for athletes to go get paid by third parties, and people celebrate it, why not us? And they got a point, because that agency that created the deal for them, really all the agency did was create a PR campaign. Each one of those athletes, as professional athletes, has always had the option to go and make money from a third party. Right. And sign an endorsement deal. There was nothing prohibiting them from doing that. Right. What the agency said is, we're just going to bring attention to it. The name, image, and likeness wave is moving, and maybe there will be brands that then jump at this, because we know when it comes to pay disparity, when it comes to the disparity in value, these great professional women athletes pale in comparison to the men. But it was more PR than it was substance. So we'll leave it there before we hop into the next topic, man. But I think name, image, and likeness, when we see how it unfolds, is we're a long way from what it's going to look like. And I think a lot of these players are going to jump at the first nickel and dime thrown at them. And that's where I'm concerned, because it's still an 18, 19-year-old making a decision about something that very well could be a bad decision, very well could be undervaluing themselves. And I think there's going to be a lot of that. Now, when it comes to Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh and Shedeur, I messed up the son's name. But when it comes to the quarterback, he going to be all right. First of all, because he's Deion's son. Second of all, because that's a great deal. That's not a Kool-Aid opportunity, because your name is JaQuincy. Is it Ja or Guh?
Quincy. Antoine.
Let's vote. Stop messing with my name, man. Is it all right? Who says it's JaQuincy? Ja. Raise your hand if you say it's JaQuincy.
I'm not gonna raise my hand, but I'm gonna say it's JaQuincy.
I'll go with JaQuincy.
All right, so unanimous, man. We're going JaQuincy. Mama named JaQuincy. We're gonna call him JaQuincy. But here comes Kool-Aid, knowing that name is particularly, how should we say it, ethnic. Kool-Aid comes and does a deal with him. Shout out to him for getting the deal. But I mean, how can we not call that a form of exploitation? The only reason you got that deal, man, is because you have a very ethnic, family reunion friendly name.
Kool-Aid didn't name the boy. His mama did. We just appreciate your name.
We do appreciate your name, my brother.
That's
if it's Ja or Guh.
It's Georgia,
you, man.
It's Georgia, so it's got to be JaQuincy.
Georgia, JaQuincy. All right, so mental health, because in this episode, Imposter Syndrome, we got the name from Imposter Syndrome, which is a scientific term that people have essentially, and I'll do it a disservice, so I'll just go ahead and do it a disservice, because I don't know enough about it, but
it's too
I
early
know
for
enough.
people to fact check you anyway.
Yeah, it's too early.
We're in the Sycamore era. Go ahead.
Exactly, man.
believe
Bishop Sycamore told me
More
imposter
sicker than
syndrome
yours.
means I learned this
Sycamore
at my
style.
Bishop Sycamore Institution
quote.
of Learning. That imposter syndrome, because Naomi Osaka tweeted something out that was essentially like she struggles with her confidence, and anything that has happened to her in the way of success, she's sort of like, why me, or must be luck, and undermining sort of the work that she puts into it. And that approach is called imposter syndrome. So let's dive in, man, because mental health was on full display again. Naomi Osaka's tweet brought up a lot of conversation about it. And then Pac-Man Jones came out and publicly acknowledged and admitted that he's bipolar, and he found out about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, towards the end of his career, but didn't want to take the medicine because he was afraid that it would impact the contract negotiability. So mental health, here we are again. In sports, you know what it is. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. Like we say every week, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. Please subscribe in podcast world. But we've talked about mental health in sports a lot. And the year of the twisties and Simone Biles, the year of now the imposter syndrome with Naomi Osaka, has brought on all of these different conversations about where mental health lies in sports. They're now saying that it might make sense because Naomi Osaka was talking about her real fear of facing the media and answering questions. Maybe there could be a quiet room at these tournaments for the athletes to be in prior to being interviewed. And of course, Meg Kelly, the conservative, former Fox, former NBC personality, said something to the effect of, man, this is a generation of snowflakes. And without getting into anybody's politics to make you go thumbs up or thumbs down on the use of snowflakes as a reference, does she have a point? Have we reached a whole new, I won't call it low, but a whole new reality when it comes to the fragility? Ooh, we like that. The fragility.
You bringing the vocabulary back this early, man?
Early,
I'm not ready. I didn't practice.
Yeah, practice.
Let's not do that this week.
Where your paperwork, man? That's because you went to Bishop Sycamore.
Yeah,
you don't
Bishop
know what the word
Sycamore.
Man, we know my classes are online behind the shed.
My class is online, but my Wi-Fi messed up. That's what's going on. But there's this whole fragile nature of the athlete now on full display again, and I hesitate to call it fragile because I know I'm going to get some backlash. People will say, "No, it's not fragile; it's real."
I'm a co-sign.
Athletes for a long time have had to face the media, the people that they didn't want to face. Athletes for a long time have had to overcome being the center of attention and having unprecedented pressure put on them by local and national media, even international. That's happened for a long time, but now we're framing it as mental health.
Yeah, I mean, I take I guess I always try to look at sports from the reason why we look at sports, right? It's about the competition and all of these other pieces in terms of, you know, they're being coddled, they're being, you know, they're too fragile, all of that. For me, what is the end goal, right? The end goal is that we see these elite human beings, physically and mentally, psychologically gifted to deliver an entertaining product that we all are enthralled by, right? Enthralled.
Yes, enthralled.
That's up to you. And so ultimately, I think it's just another path to the same goal, right? Back in the day, we just wanted to see people be tough. We wanted to see them be, you know, macho. We wanted to see them be cocky. We wanted to make sure that they were protected. The difference is now you can't hide. You're, as a human, through social media, like the exposure to your life is so open. From, you know, people didn't know things about Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan was playing. I mean, they knew who his wife was. They didn't know what they were going through in their personal lives. They didn't know, you know, there were things that you could present. You could be protective of your personal space, your personal image. So I think the transition of all of this, where the lights are on and everything, you know, people, I was walking my dog yesterday, and there's people taking video of me. I don't know them. They didn't ask. They're documenting my life, right? And I'm not famous, so I think ultimately,
now. Don't be doing. Come on, man. It's Ball Hawk Sports Talk. Come on, bro. ETP from the Ball Hawk Sports Talk.
Man, I defer to y'all. Y'all are the headliners. I'm just the backing band. So ultimately, I think it's just about the end product, right? If it's gonna take taking a different approach so that these athletes actually feel confident and prepared and motivated to perform, then do whatever they need to do. We get caught up in the process behind the scenes too much, or the things that are off the field of play, that I think it's overemphasized. Whatever is needed to get them. I want to see Naomi Osaka win the US Open. I want to see that happen. If it's going to take her having a quiet room or being able to meditate or doing things that are on her time, by all means do it.
But if she wins and has to take what sounds like walking the plank, it sounds like walking the plank now, and she has to take the podium and answer questions. Don't the two come hand in hand?
Absolutely.
If you're cheering for her to win, then shouldn't you also be cheering for the media to have access to her and interview her?
She acknowledged.
Torture.
Yeah, but she acknowledged that she handled the French Open situation incorrectly, or she wished she had handled it better. She's talking to the media now, right? She's not shying away from that. So I can appreciate that. She has to do that part of her job, but the fact that she's actually being super vulnerable, where the flip side is people are going to tear apart Sha'Carri Richardson because she's like, I'm not done. I'll be back. You can't beat me. Like she's the alternative. She's the anti-imposter syndrome, right? Like she's taking it to a whole other level. They're both addressing the pressures of fame, celebrity, and elite athleticism in they're both addressing it, but they're addressing it in different ways.
Got it.
You have some good points that I look at. It's like, people got to do what they. One thing I will say, from a mental health situation, I do applaud people who have come forward and admit that they have a problem. I know I'm the type of person in my life, I like to share my problems with my friends. And it's amazing to me, some of the things that I've gone through in my life that I've shared with people, and they come and say, me too, right? Yeah. I hate to use me too. I know that's now.
You're allowed to use those words.
I can use judges.
Judges. Okay.
We'll allow it.
Is there enough syllables in me too? But anyway, so there's a lot of people say, man, me too, man. I've been going through it, and I know that for me, I've been helped by the Me Too when someone says I've been through it, and I know that people have been helped, and they've told, and I told them I've dealt with it. I've said many times on the show that I get anxiety issues. I've dealt with anxiety. This is something I've dealt with for 18 years. And I've told people about it when they go through it, and I talk about it, and I can see the ease that goes over their face. So there is a human side to everybody. As perfect as I appear.
What you said?
No, I just want to give you a chance.
This must be a glitch.
I need a new prescription.
Sycamore stuff. So anyway, as perfect as I appear,
objects in the mirror may appear larger than these.
It's all perspective. But I just think that people need to go through it. But then the flip side of that, and something Ellis said kind of caught my mind to it, is like, there are so many aspects of your life that you're human. I think people who are athletes that get scholarships or get paid for their sport or whatever, they get paid because they do things that normal people can't do, right? Otherwise, I'm not going to go watch subpar middle-aged over 40 basketball. It's not entertaining. I want to see somebody throw the ball in the hoop from far, shoot the ball from far, dunk the ball on somebody, cross somebody up. I want to see somebody do a catch that I can't possibly do, that I've tried. You know what I mean? That's why we are with the sports. But then we also have, if we don't like the other stuff, if you don't like the politics in sports, don't listen to it. But you should still be able to enjoy the sport if you want to. And in today's society, people want you to be everything they want you to be, how they want you to be. I don't want, I wish I could just watch the sports and not listen to the politics. Don't listen to it. Don't let it bother you. You know what I mean? Naomi Osaka, I root for her for the tennis. I haven't really listened to her interviews. Nothing against it, but I'm not really as interested, to be honest with you, in what she has to say every day after the thing. I want to see.
I'm the exact opposite now. Now I'm really interested in it because she brought.
And that's fantastic that you are.
Yeah.
Right? That's what everybody should consume what they want to consume. But I think we're in a society right now where people feel like I need to like 100% of something, or it's cancel culture personified and pushed forward. Is like, if I don't agree with everything that you do, then I don't like you. I'm not on your team because of this one thing that you do. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people, with athletes and stuff, where I don't want to have to find out their what. I don't want to not like you, so I don't pay attention. Like, I just want to pay attention to the sports and do what you're going to go do. And I may not look into your stuff. Some people want to see what your activism is. And God bless everybody who whatever your choice you want to consume, but just don't expect people to not have mental health issues. Don't expect people to not have political views different than you. Don't expect that, because you can't, with the 24-hour access and the 360 view of everybody. Somebody about to get the hook. 360 degree view of everybody. It's going to be things you don't like, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the flip side is, what would Pac-Man Jones have been able to do? How would he have been able to stay in the league if there was a level of support and, acceptance of mental health? But instead you get vilified and you get kicked out the league. So,
but didn't we know Pac-Man Jones was bipolar?
Yeah, but he wouldn't accept
we know that.
And it wasn't,
we just called it crazy. Right? We just called it crazy.
Right.
Now that he put a title on it, we're like, oh, he's suffering. He's been crazy this whole time, and he's saying
for sure. But it wasn't. But the stigma didn't allow it to be addressed and for it to be, I guess, managed. And so it caused him his career, right? Like he didn't see
5,000 years in the NFL for 15 teams.
Right, but he was
He was on
and how many
Knocks
games did he play though?
How many Hard Knocks episodes seasons was he? About 4 of them.
Yeah,
he's been in the NFL forever.
Because he was a spectacle, because he was
Fantastic.
quote unquote crazy, not because
everybody knew he was crazy.
Yeah,
everybody been knew.
But he has now got a clinical diagnosis that says
you can't say crazy. So now that's derogatory. So I take it back.
Yeah, he's like, man, he used to fight and this, that, and other. Like, yeah. And he talked about his upbringing. He watched his dad get killed at 8 years old. So some of that probably should have already been diagnosed. And he said it. He admitted, he's like, they didn't used to diagnose stuff like that. It was just kind of like, it is what it is. Good luck. And for him, it didn't work out. Good luck didn't stop the erratic behavior. Good luck didn't stop the extreme emotions. And Pac-Man Jones, I think, is one of several players that, through their erratic behavior, it might have been explained through science earlier, but it wasn't. So I've got this back and forth, because when I hear Naomi Osaka talk about imposter syndrome, a lot of us have the imposter syndrome. When I say us, I mean especially Black folk in corporate America. A lot of us smile and explain away our own success in order to make those around us feel better about it, because we don't want to be too threatening. That's true. As described, that's an imposter syndrome. A lot of professionals in our respective industries do that because that is what they've had to do in order to survive. And as I hear the scientific use of imposter syndrome, and I try to at least empathize with what it must feel like in a person's mind that sees that environment of right after a sporting event, needing to speak in front of a camera, the person that sees that as torturous. I've tried to empathize, but it just seems as though like I don't know, man. It just feels like that comes with the territory. Now, if they're asking you to literally go walk a plank and do something that is out of sorts for you, then I get it. But they're asking you to answer questions about the match that you just played. They're asking you to answer questions about a sport that, since you were however old, you chose to play. They're asking you because the sport that you chose to play and aspire to be a professional athlete in, you succeeded. And so what comes with that is the expectation that you answer these questions. And we don't give you we don't give you a week to do it. Some of it is the reality of the emotions that make the interview better. I get both sides. I don't know if we have reached the level of snowflake yet, but man, we're getting dangerously close to it. We're getting dangerously close to it. I'm Megyn Kelly supporter. I am not. But I get where she's coming from and saying that a quiet room. What? How does that? I don't know what you guys think about it, man, but I see the validity in what she was what Megyn Kelly was saying and trying to make it sort of not laughable, but questionable.
But the point is physical health and mental health are both health, right? And so the idea of this quiet room, it's like they have mental health specialists the same way they have a training staff for physical injuries, all of that. At the end of the day, man, if the entertainment product is going to be better for it, I'm all for it. And if the people are going to be more sustainable and they're not going to break down and they're not going to get kicked out the league and they're not going to commit crimes because they have misdirected energy, then I'm all for it. Like I don't see, like, we could say that we're becoming soft, but if the end result is that we want productive contributors to society and to the sport, and this is going to help them get there, then let's give it all to them. And we can complain about it, but we're still going to be watching the NBA finals or the 100-meter track and field gold medal, race or whatever it is, because they're at their peak performance levels.
I just think, and on this, I think people want to see the raw emotion. They want to see, what does the person feel like when they just won something? What do they see like when that's why they put the mic in your face. They wanted to see the training. You see HBO is doing the 24/7s for like boxing and what goes into the training beforehand, Hard Knocks, what goes into the training. Everybody wants to know what makes a great person tick, and they want to see the human side. So the fact that she has difficulty in the interview and it's not good, people want to see that. They want to see that, like, okay, this is tough. I have a hard time, and after this, and do whatever. Some people don't care. They just want to see the tennis. But some people want to see that raw emotion. And I think where B is going is like, if it's not perfect, doesn't mean it's a clinical diagnosis. People want to say they have. Always people say, "Oh, I got ADD" because they have a hard time paying attention. ADD is this. You just have a hard time paying attention. You know what I mean? Like, quit trying to find some way to say, I have this problem and I can't do it because I have this problem. Everything's not a clinical diagnosis. That's where I think the snowflake comes in. It's like, it's just hard for you. That's okay. So
it's hard for me to use a backhand with a tennis racket. Ain't no clinical diagnosis for it, right? I just can't do it. I'm not as good as you at it. And maybe you're not.
They call that slew foot where I grew up.
Fuzzy bad foots. And maybe you're just not as good at getting in front of a microphone answering questions. But I don't know, man. It's like every time I hear mental health, when I hear that phrase used to describe these things, I worry that we're being too lenient when it comes to what qualifies as a mental health issue. That's what I worry about. Even when it came to the twisties, if we're saying that the twisties has been around forever, why is now Simone Biles dealing with the twisties considered a mental health issue? No, that's just something that you get disoriented because of whatever goes on in the air. I don't flip and I don't pretend to be a gymnast. I don't even play one on TV. But whatever goes on the air, it's gone on forever. Why now is it mental health?
Yeah.
So many professional athletes have struggled with the interview process and not knowing how to deal with their emotions and saying off the wall things when you put a mic in front of their face. But why now is that considered a mental health issue? So that's all I'm saying. And I really do sympathize with her because she is a pleasant young lady. I like watching her play. I like watching her everything when I'm talking about Naomi Osaka, that is. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't think everything can be mental health. Like everything cannot be a mental health.
Couldn't speak well, and like Ron Harper, how terrible he was in front of a microphone for so long, how much anxiety he must have had after the thing, and he worked on it. He got better. Magic Johnson used to be terrible in front of a microphone. He worked on it. He got better.
Shaq was horrible.
Yeah.
Shaq was horrible.
And I'm sure that they all had anxiety about going in front of there and sounding terrible, and they worked on it and they got better. Work on it the same way she worked on her backhand and her forehand.
Yeah, I think so I'm in full agreement the part of your job is to speak to the media, win, lose, or draw, right? Like that is part of your contractual obligation. She should absolutely fulfill those duties. I don't dispute that at all. What I'm saying is the idea that we just continue on this path of, oh, just muscle through it. You're an athlete. Suppress your feelings. Don't be vulnerable. All of these things that have caused a lot of people to implode and have prevented a lot of people from living up to their potential. Kwame Brown is big, like he was in a situation where he was not being supported, where Michael Jordan wanted him off the team, but he was 18 years old. He was a first pick, and he played a number of years in the league. You talk about Pac-Man Jones. He played a number of years in the league, but he did not live up to his potential, potentially because of the lack of support and the lack of, I guess, consideration for his mental health. And all I'm saying is it's a holistic reality where we've degraded the mental aspect of sports for so long to the point where it's racist, right? Like where Black people have been superior in a lot of different sports, and there's never been any conversation about the mental aspect and the psychological aspect of what they bring. But at the same time, oh, they can run, they can jump. Black people are this, Black people are that. But don't let them play quarterback. Don't let them do anything that's mentally driven. But at the end of the day, it's the convergence of both. So if we're trying to dismiss that there's a mental aspect of sports, then we're doing a disservice to the athletes and also to the fans, because if we're not providing that support, then we're not going to get the best product. Like that's just not going to happen. So I'm with you all on the interview side, but I think that it, like, we're being very like traditional and, old school about, oh, we don't talk about our problems. We don't do this. Like, I appreciate that everything's coming out to light, but at the same time, like, they still have to fulfill their duties.
Got it. Well, hey, that's fair. The way you characterize it is fair. And we could disagree when it comes to what rises to the level of a mental health diagnosis. We could disagree with that. Where we do agree is that you still got to fulfill your duties. I love Naomi Osaka, so it's tough for me to take this position, but I don't want us running to, just like, someone earlier, I don't know if it's the Big Flow Show or ETP, talked about everyone's got ADD now, right? And, Big Pharma loves the fact that we're all, qualifying these kids as ADD. Yeah, line them up, get them some pills. And for me, luckily, my ADD was cured by Betty Brown's, I ain't gonna talk about her choice of disciplinary actions, because y'all might still try to do something to her, and she in the grave. But she chose disciplinary actions that helped me with my ADD. So when we took disciplinary actions out of the school, no surprise, the ADD started to be more of a distraction. Kids that were struggling with ADD, rather, started to have more problems in school as we took this. So there's a correlation between what we do and then the science that follows, if you will. Like, what we did was we took disciplinary actions out of the teacher's hands, right? What followed was this uptick of everyone being diagnosed. Similar in sports, what we've done is, we've kind of taken the burden off the athlete. The professional athlete is doing something that is superhuman. We've taken the burden off of them to be superhuman. What follows is now the science in sports, that everything and anything is, oh, well, that's a mental health issue. So I'm not clinically trained. I admit that. But I am culturally trained, rather, to spot a good athlete that is so mentally tough that, yeah, when the crowd is screaming and yelling, you're on an opponent's court, you're still gonna make that free throw. To me, it is a part of it, but it's so intertwined into how they become the athlete that I don't want to separate the two. And I feel as though when it comes to stories like these, we're separating the two. And I don't like to separate the two. So maybe I'm being old school. I'll give you that. I'm kind of old school. Today's episode, the Imposter Syndrome, was based on just that. Naomi Osaka's tweet and how the imposter syndrome, how she sort of undermines her own success and explains it away as luck as opposed to her achievements. And so there's something there. But again, as professionals in respective industries, we all see it all too often with our Black career professionals that we do it a lot. Explain away as, I was, it just worked out. It didn't work out. You got 9 degrees. It didn't just work out. Right? You worked harder than everybody else. You were there early. You stayed late. You didn't just fall into the opportunity. But we tend to do it to explain away how we are one of very, very few in a lot of environments. Any parting words? I got to say this before we get out of here. The Rich Paul saga, the agent, NBA super agent. We're going to talk about that with Nerls Noel and now Kendrick Perkins chimed in. We'll maybe talk about that next week because Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. Yeah, I gotta roll. But it's a perfect sports story when it comes to business. So we'll talk about that. And then college football is back, baby. So we'll go into a whole college football thing next week. I'll let you guys sign off, and I got to get out of here. What do you guys say, ATP?
Just hope everybody's staying safe. Like I said, we had some crazy weather all throughout the country, so everybody staying safe. And long weekend, baby. Enjoy it.
Labor Day, man. Don't do no labor though. What you got? Big Flow show.
Go Cats tonight. Good luck. Go beat Michigan State. Go Irish on Sunday. Beat Florida State, and of course, go Redhawks tonight. Beat Lincoln Way East, but that's gonna be a tall order. We might talk about that next week. We might not.
All right. Well, hey, good luck to your son, man, in the squad. I've got my Mighty Mike team playing this Sunday without their head coach. I will be away because I'm going to my son's AAU tournament in Myrtle Beach.
They playing Bishop Sycamore.
Bishop Sycamore, man. Y'all go do your thing, and then shout out to Train to Go, our AAU family. We're gonna be down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, putting on and showing out on behalf of New Jersey, by way of South Florida. Like I did that. This has been the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy B Brown ESQ, aka the Ball Hawk, aka the Mouth South, aka Mr. Success Celebration. I was here this week and every week with the crew, my man ETP Ellis, the producer, and my dog, the Big Flow Show. This is where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We only know how to do it one way: rough, rugged, and raw. We appreciate you following our movement. We ask you to like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe in the podcast world. This has been the Imposter Syndrome episode, and we weren't imposters, baby. We brought the funk yet again. Enjoy your long Labor Day weekend. We is out. Peace.